man. All right, Adam, let's just say it this way. What is going on with the Cowboys?
Well, there's a lot. Obviously, they suffered the big injuries and a big loss on Sunday. Dak Prescott hurts his hamstring and says it's unlike anything he's felt before. Jerry Jones today says that the Cowboys are likely to place him on injured reserve. So let's just go there for a moment and assume that they do place him on injured reserve, which I believe will wind up happening later this week. Well, Dak Prescott is out for 4 games minimum. How do we even know that he's going to be healthy at that point? How do we know they're going to be alive in contention to bring him back? There's a lot of questions. And all of a sudden, it looks like it's Cooper Rush's team now for the foreseeable future. Despite Dak's status right now, the Cowboys still today went out and made another wide receiver trade. They traded for a young receiver who went in the 2nd round last year, who struggled to get on the field and perform in Carolina. Dallas traded a 4th-round pick to the Panthers in return for Jonathan Mingo and a 7th-round draft pick. And Dallas obviously now adding to the wide receiver room, but obviously there's injuries at quarterback. There is a lack of productivity at running back. And so they opted for a wide receiver who struggled to get on the field in Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to give Dallas the benefit of the doubt just because I just want to have some fun with this. Because otherwise you sit there and you go, well, what the hell's going on here, right? Because if you look at it like this, like if Dak is gone for the rest of the year, they're probably going to lose like 4 to the next 5 to the next 6 anyway. They're going to be out of it, right? We don't even know who the coach is going to be next year for this team. So who are you building a team for? Why are you acquiring this guy? He's not going to give you any probably real juice this year, especially when he's not working with Dak Prescott. So what are they doing? They must be thinking about down the line, what does this do for our football team a year from now? There's no other way to look at it.
Yep.
Now, the price is a problem, okay, because we're just talking about like an old economic term, surplus value, performance value relative to cost. That cost is way too high. What are we thinking? Like maybe you should have given the 7th for him, the 6th for him, and see if they would have come up off of him for that.
Look at it in comparison to other
that's the
recent
problem,
trades.
right?
Yeah.
That's the problem. He's sitting at the top of this heap right here. So that's really where the hang-up comes. Look, I would hope that all the decision makers from Jerry on down in Dallas understand what this year is and what this year is going to represent, and that they have bigger plans in mind. Because otherwise, look, at the trade deadline, typically teams are trying to make moves in order to boost their team that year, not for the next year. I don't know what they're doing in that regard.
Let me just say this one thing before you guys go. They're getting a player that, number one, that they had a high draft grade on.
That's what I'm saying.
And number 2, he is on a rookie contract. So for the next 2 years, where they are cash strapped, they get a wide receiver they like.
All makes sense.
But
makes
so
sense.
would a 4th-round pick next
All
year.
makes sense.
He would be on a rookie contract for 2 more years.
Should they have been sellers today
Of
from the
course they
beginning?
should have been.
Especially knowing the
But
Dak
who?
news.
Why? I mean, but see, you don't. Okay, go ahead. I want to hear why. I want to hear why you say that.
Well, first of all, I don't think, and I'm trying to be respectful when I say this, I don't think there's an organization that has less of a pulse about the right now of their football team than the Dallas Cowboys. Of course they should have been sellers, okay? Like, they're 3-5. They're not a good football team. If Dak Prescott is on IR officially, we'll see. That's 12 games into the season. Bringing him back for the last 5 games is not going to make some massive playoff run, even if they went on a decent run over the next 4 weeks. To be sellers would sit there and go, we have to understand that next year, 46% of our cap is tied up in Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb right now. Could you change that? Of course. We're going to have to re-sign Micah Parsons. So that is only going to elevate that percentage to 3 guys specifically. So you have to sit there and go as an organization, how do we get back on track? Is it Micah Parsons that we, again, I think it's unlikely, do we entertain trading a Micah Parsons or DeMarcus Lawrence?
Stop right there. What do you guys think about trading Micah Parsons?
But see, they already knew what the salary cap ramifications were with signing Dak, signing CD, and planning for the future for Micah.
But don't you think they had the expectations of winning this year?
But it wasn't all or nothing. It can't be all or you can't do that. You can't go all or nothing. You're not going to give Dak Dak is untradeable. You can't get rid of him now.
Right.
You can't get rid of CD. They already knew, look, we're making our bed with these dudes, and we're going to have to build around it. The problem is the rest of the roster hasn't panned out. That's the problem. The problem is you better draft your rear end off. The problem is you better play in the mid-tier and lower tier free agent market and hit 100 out of 100. So they're making it hard on themselves, but they also expect, hey, my $60 million quarterback is going to elevate the 4th and 5th round wide receiver, the mid-tier free agent. And he's not doing it. Now he's not even available.
Now he's not there. And
that's the problem.
And to your point about why not just go draft a 4th round receiver, probably don't trust their ability to do so. And just
That may be
keeping it on the field with Jonathan Mingo, because I know there's like varying like opinions on what he is as a player. He's in Carolina. So all the things we talk about as players that are there and what we've seen for them over the last couple of years also apply to Jonathan Mingo. He's a big body slot that could potentially slot into some of those holes that they have at the wide receiver spot. But that is only dependent on if you have the quarterback play from Dak Prescott that you paid for, as well as the offensive commander who was calling the plays to set it up that way.
Sure.
On the field, I like Mingo.
Sure.
We can talk about the compensation of what they gave up for him. But to your point about them going all in with these three big players, they have to be able to draft well and build around them. I don't think it's getting to a seller's. To sell Michael Parsons now for the ability he has is a complete reversal of anything they've done so far.
Well, and this organization over, I would say, the last 5, 6, 7 years has drafted well. Maybe the last 2 years, some of those players haven't necessarily taken off the way that they wanted. And I understand that the Micah one is the extreme. But again, for an organization that, in my opinion, has the wrong actual feel of who you are now and who you are have the potential to be next year, it's a phone call. Again, unlikely. But to sit here and say,